Hello there and welcome back to another review. So being such a huge fan of the Turtles, one of my most favourite franchises of all time, I thought I'd have a look at the 2014 reboot that come out. Now, do you remember when this film was in pre-production? I don't know about you, but if you were a Turtles fan, you were pretty worried, right? There was a big hoo-ha, a big fuss about this movie. For example, like Michael Bay was involved, Megan Fox was cast as April O'Neil. At one point, the Turtles were going to be aliens. All this, it was a worrying time, right? If you were a Turtles fan, there was a lot to be concerned with. And as a fan, it was one of them things you just, like with a fan of any franchise, you just wanted it to be good. You just, at the bottom line, at the core element, you just wanted the film to be good, to be worthwhile, to be a true testament to the franchise, the Turtles. You just wanted it to live up to all the hype and expectations. But looking back at it now, there was no way this film was ever going to be good. I'd been such a huge fan of the original Turtles movie made way back in 1990, which is I've reviewed ages ago on this channel, but not just a great film, amazingly great film, but it's better than any right it has to be. But that original Turtles movie is probably it's so like dark and it's very true to the source material, and I think I've said it in other reviews when I've reviewed sort of Turtle stuff, that all I've ever wanted is a really dark, gritty Turtles movie. But with this, like, I think looking back at this time, like when this film come out or was in pre-production, I think we was all worried, and I think, like I say, there was no way this film was going to be any good. But there was every so often glimmers of hope. Like when I first saw the leaked Turtle designs that come out, I think it was like it may have been a figure of Leonardo or something like that, and I was on board with the Turtle designs. I was like, okay, I can definitely get behind that. I was liking like the designs they were doing there. I just I thought there's hope. I had got good vibes about it. Now, I was so hyped for this movie. Like, I wanted this film to mean as much to a new generation as the original Turtles movie did for me. But the alien thing was a big deal, and it proved how much the fans were passionate about their beloved franchises. No, we don't want the Turtles to be aliens. Change things, sure, but why change the origin? This is what always gets me when people take too much license with the franchise. I mean, I'm okay for people doing different spins and different takes and whatever, but don't change the origin. I mean, that's something like you can't really mess with. So, which pretty much everyone knows, even if you aren't the biggest Turtle fan in the world. Makes me laugh when you cast your mind back. They were like telling the fans not to worry, it's going to be true to the Turtles, and they were looking at films like The Raid and Fist of Legend for inspiration for the action scenes. Yeah, right. What action scenes? Like, if they're looking at films like Fist of Legend and The Raid, there's hardly, when you're talking fight sequences and fight choreography, that doesn't even exist in this movie. There's no like, oh, do you remember the fight in the Turtles reboot? When no such thing. No such thing. So, like I say, they were telling the fans not to worry. Wasn't there also like a leaked script where Shredder was like Colonel Schrader or something like that? Wasn't that something else that was floating around, if I cast my mind back? As I say, it was worrying, right? It was a worrying time. It was like, what the are they doing with this? Like, seriously. Let's say the Turtles were aliens and Mikey was going to fall in love with a turtle woman or something at some stage. And this is the kind of people that they think they have the fans' best interest at heart and true to the source. The people like the powers that be, the people in Hollywood with the money, it's like, no, don't worry, we got it. We got the fans' best interest. No, you're getting paid loads of money and you don't really respect the franchise at all. Is what's really happening here. And as for Megan Fox as April, I know fans weren't happy. I don't even think Peter Laird was happy, and it was just one of them. Nothing against Megan Fox, but it was just one of them sort of casting where it's like, why her? Out of all the actresses you could have cast, why her? I guess because they know 12 to 14-year-old boys are going to see it, and like they knew Transformers, they need some eye candy for the boys rather than, actual acting talent. Let's just get some eye candy in. And say, not to take anything away from Megan Fox, but she's just not my kind of April O'Neil. Even someone like Jessica Biel, I think, was in talks, and I was so much preferred Jessica Biel as April O'Neil in this movie. And wasn't Sax originally going to be like the Shredder, and they changed that too, making him like the Shredder's adopted son, proving they had no clue whatsoever they were doing. Also, why did they have to make Leo's voice that of Johnny Knoxville's whilst we're on the subject? Why at the in post-production did they change Leo's voice to Johnny Knoxville? Why? What the hell was the point of that? What purpose did that serve? Proving what a toxic production this was. I know the actors playing the Turtles had a terrible time and were not given the same treatment as Megan Fox or Will Arnett, and all were considered, I think they were all considered like an afterthought and not allowed to do much in the way of press, which is, that's so wrong. That is so wrong. When you've got the people that are the lead characters in the movie and they were very restricted, they weren't treated that well apparently on set, they were sort of compared to Megan Fox, etc. And I say not even allowed to do press. It's wrong on so many levels. The thing is with this movie, there's no charm, right? There's no charm or heart to it. There is none of that at all. It's just all flash and no substance, as you would expect with Michael Bay. It's just got the whole Michael Bay blood running through it. Someone said, the whole film seems so half-hearted. It's almost like they didn't want to make it. They just made it because they could. And it would make money. There is no passion here with this film at all. Did we need a Robo Shredder? Why does Eric Sachs get a load of snow where he lives? Couldn't we just had one awesome fight scene? And to its credit, the film isn't as bad as it could have been, but believe me, it is still bad. It's not as catastrophic as you think it might be, but it's pretty damn bad. There are elements every now and then when you think, okay, that's sort of funny, and then it just doesn't go anywhere. But whereas the first movie had heart to it, Secret of the Ooze sort of hit and miss, and less said about the third one, the better. But the first one especially has a lot of heart. It really does. When you watch that film again, it's actually quite a heartwarming film. But this film, no such thing. It's still bad. It's a generic plot. It's cringe-worthy one-liners, but the Turtles' personalities are by far they're there. They are still there, and like I say, I do like the design. I just wanted so much more. I'm sure a lot of you out there, if you are Turtles fans, you wanted more as well. So the intro is so cheap. The Foot Clan rule, Shredder is the boss, and all animated in such a typical way. It's so generic. Right away, we meet April, who is investigating some missing chemicals. Will Arnett as our cameraman, Vern Fenwick. So Vern has the hots for her. They give her a yellow jacket to symbolise the yellow jumpsuit from the cartoon. Typical struggling reporter shtick, she's looking for that big scoop, that big story. We know the drill. So this guy she's interviewing is go back down the docks and meet Stan for anything you want to know. So she goes back down there at night, I might add. So April O'Neil's pretty fearless. She needs that story. God knows why it's taken her this long, as it was daylight when she called the guy. And the Foot are stealing these chemicals, and who are just guys with guns. And you know damn well this film was going for that Transformers vibe when it comes to marketing. But the Foot Clan, this is not the Foot Clan. This is just typical generic people with guns thing. This is just, there's nothing there that think, oh God, that is one hell of a ninja clan, the Foot Clan. No such thing. As I say, I'm all for people putting spins and different takes on it, but can we at least have the Foot Clan there? Can we at least have the Foot Clan as we know what the Foot Clan is? The Ninja Thieves, as they're known in the original. So she goes back down at night, and so after seeing these vigilantes in the shadow fight back, she goes home to tell her roommate, oh, and by the way, in every scene, Megan Fox's hair and makeup is just perfect. With not one hair out of place. She's absolutely beautiful and picturesque in every single scene. And she is someone is fighting back to her roommate, right? And I have to love the cringe lines her fellow reporters give her, oh, Neil, I think you found Superman. It's this is the best. Do you know where the kind of films when sometimes you have 3 or 4 people writing it, and this is the best script, the best lines they can come up with. So no one believes her. The guy in charge of stopping the foot crime wave has partnered with Eric Sachs, who is just a rich business tycoon. The film is so overworked and overdone and overproduced and over everything. They reveal the Shredder's face right away. Kari tells him she has never known an enemy like this in terms of their size and strength. Shredder is saying the Foot Clan will rise again. Okay, this part is sort of in line as to what you think the Shredder should be. They've sort of got the elements of, like, and the way the Shredder is introduced in this film is actually quite cool. Like, he's having a bit of like martial arts training. You sort of get a face reveal right away, which they really shouldn't have done. But this is about as far as good points go in terms of this Shredder. We will own this city, he says. Sax was like a young scientist whose lab was attacked by the Foot and that he worked with April's father. You ever notice you get so many movies like this? Like, they do it, like, they... Have you ever noticed they do a film like this? They do a sequel quickly after, like they did with this one, like Out of the Shadows, and then nothing. Then it goes completely dead. There's so many films like that where they sort of strike while the iron's hot, and then they stop. They completely stop. So the Foot are taking hostages in the subway. April goes down there alone and gets taken hostage too. So they are going to blow the people up in order to lure out the turtles, basically, who proceed to show up by subway train and kick the Foot's ass. April runs out and just so happens to be the only one that follows them up this stairwell. No one else is interested, and she finds the turtles on the roof, right? Nobody's interested who these masked guys. They're just more concerned with going home, getting some dinner, getting some pizza, you know, whatever. But April follows the mask, well, the shadows that masked vigilantes up this stairwell. As I say, the designs are fine, and the CGI is as good as you would expect it to be. It's nothing sort of amazing, but by and large, as a positive to the film, the turtles look okay. I do like the design. I like how I don't think Donnie really needed the glasses, but even still. April does the whole fainting thing. They do get the turtles' personalities down, and there are some odd, funny lines here and there. They're just, like I mentioned, they're just so far between each one. You get Mikey with the quips. You see Leo and Raph butt heads. The music and score isn't all that bad either. Like, the music does its job. So April is like, where do I know their names from? And she looks back at an old video from like 1999 from her dad's lab where sort of Sax is there, and you would think she would remember these turtles' name that she had such love and such affinity for. Like, she's like, where did I know them names from? And she, like, these turtles, she was in love with these little turtles in her dad's lab, right? And they were like using them as test subjects, as she was obviously very fond of them. As I say, there are funny scenes like them sneaking back into the lair, the Christmas hip-hop album comment, and when they're all shushing each other, trying to sneak back in. But did we really need Splinter taking them out with his tail? Like, don't you think that's a bit overkill? Couldn't they have just had Splinter just fine? Did we really need them, like him beating them up with his tail? And for the most part, Splinter in terms of CGI comes out the worst. You know, like in Turtles 3 where Splinter looks a piece of crap. In this, as CGI, he doesn't look much better. He doesn't fare much better. April gets fired after explaining the story, then wants to see Sax, basically, because Sax knew her dad, and again, it's so sort of, oh, God. So the turtles go into the Hoshi, which is like a ninja punishment room, and why does whenever the turtles are on screen, the camera just keeps panning round and round? If you watch this film, when it's just the turtles, you watch, the camera just for some reason just keeps panning round and round and round and round for whatever reason. Like, there's no cuts or anything like that. So Splinter wants to know where they went and somehow has fresh pizza. Like, how he's got this fresh pizza, I have no idea. You have no idea if it was delivered, if he cooked it himself, no idea. So, as Splinter's mad at them for going out, Splinter wants O'Neill brought to their lair, right? So, yeah, tacky lines we get. Vern saying, heroes in a half shell. Even the original movie didn't stoop that low with its one-liners. So they go to Sax's mansion, and which seems like it's in Alaska, like, for some reason, with all the snow. So at this super guarded estate, she buzzes and gets let in. Then we get this setup, if you can call it that, was like, it was Project Renaissance. Sax was born in Japan, and a local sensei took him in, and Sax and April's dad were trying to create like a mutagen to help people. Again, it's such a snooze fest. There's no like sort of heart to this story. There's no tension to this story. It's just like, okay, if Sax worked with your dad, you were trying to create a mutagen, the turtles were test subjects, they got out, they grew into what they are now, yada yada yada. So she shows him like a blurry pic of the turtles, and he believes her right away about who they are. Donnie contacts April through her computer, and just no drama in the movie at all, and doesn't feel grounded enough. When she meets Splinter, it's not April and Splinter. All you see is Megan Fox and a giant CGI rat. You don't see April and Splinter on screen. You just see Megan Fox and this giant, great big roadkill CGI rat that's there. So Sax tells Shredder the vigilantes are the test subjects. Sax is after money and Shredder is after power and wants to take over New York. I mean, okay, fair enough. Sax and Shredder find the hideout to the Turtles' lair. We learn it's April's father who burnt the lab down as he discovered Sax and Shredder's plans. Not sure how he did it or even what the actual plan was. We just want to rule the city, I guess. Typical, power-hungry people. We just want to rule the city. So April was the one who saved the Turtles. Again, how did she forget their names? If she saved them, if she was there, she was had such love for these little turtles. How can she forget their names? Randomly, Splinter finds a book of what we learned back in the day, when they escaped. Splinter finds a book of ninjutsu. So no Japanese heritage on Splinter's part whatsoever. From just one random single book, they learn all things about ninja. Okay, again we get another scene where the camera just keeps panning round and round. Did Donnie really need glasses and the tech and all this stuff? We all know he's the geeky one, but don't you think the glasses was somewhat a bit overkill? I'm probably only saying that because Donnie's my favourite, but I just thought the glasses was yeah, we get it. We know he's the geeky one. You didn't, but I know nowadays Donnie always has glasses. Sax has given Shredder robo armor. Can't stress enough how much the heart is lacking from this movie. The Foot arrive at the sewer with guns. Now, we could have had a great fight scene here, but nope. I just want one Turtle movie with a good fight scene. That's all I've ever wanted. Just one good, amazing fight scene. Shredder turns up in this Transformer get-up, and it's such a shame it's just a CGI, a CGI rat fighting a Transformer is basically all this fight is. Again, no substance, no heart there whatsoever. Bigger isn't always better, and there's just nothing personal between these two characters when there should be, like the first movie between Splinter and Shredder. It's a lot more personal in the first movie. Here, you couldn't really care less. Again, the music and the score works, and it's fine. Splinter seals the sewer so the Turtles can escape. The Turtles all get electro-prodded, place blows up, Turtles get taken, Splinter is beaten, April is outside all of a sudden, and Raph escapes capture. Right, so we're near the end of the movie now, and this is all that's happened. So Sax wants to drain the mutagen from the Turtles. Raph goes off to save them. It is quite epic when he grabs all their weapons and he picks them up and the music kicks in and he's going to save his brothers. That is quite epic, but again, you're just not drawn in enough, unfortunately. April gets Vern to take her and Raph to Sax's estate. When he comes out the back of the van, it's probably the most monster-esque the Turtles have ever looked on the film, which I do love. I do love the Turtles, especially Raph. When he pokes his head in between Vern and April in the van, he really does look scary, and I love that. I love they didn't go for an overly sort of kid-friendly design. Sax says they were going to use rabbits, I guess reference to Usagi, who I think is that is the Ninja Rabbit from the Turtles cartoon. I may be wrong, but I definitely remember having him as an action figure. So Sax and Shredder plan to unleash the toxic gas, and Sax will save everyone with an antidote, and Shredder will take over the city. That is fine. The only thing is everyone will know it came from Sax's tower, which is where this poisonous gas is. So you will probably sort of be regarded as a hero, even though the poisonous gas in question is coming from his own tower. Sax is trained in the Turtles' blood. Raph breaks in and has to take on Robo Shredder. April gives the Turtles adrenaline. For some reason, Raph couldn't break their containment glass, but they all can from once they got adrenaline from inside. For some reason, I guess because they've been boosted up, they can now break out. So they take this truck to go after Sax after learning they are bulletproof. Then we have the whole snow chase. Again, okay, but why can't we have a cool fight scene? And that snow chase, okay, it looks great, but it's just so much CGI. Doesn't serve no purpose. Where are we in terms of New York and the geography here? Just one cool fight scene would have done. And to be fair, the chase isn't bad. Lots of CGI and Michael Bay vibes, as you would expect. Did we really need a shot of Megan Fox's arse here as well? Believe you me, this is one long snowy mountain, and it just goes on. And the cliffside, and it just so happens to be in the heart of New York City. Anyone would think they were coming down Mount Everest or something. So they get to Sax's tower. Vern and April go after the mutagen. Turtles take the elevator to meet Shredder on the roof. Again, a scene where they meet a whole bunch of Foot, and we could have had a really cool fight scene. Nope, they just close the door. They see all these Foot in one point in this room. They just close the door. We could have had an amazing fight scene. No such thing. The elevator rap is kind of funny, I guess. Yet again, we have a fight scene on a roof, just like the first movie, just not done half as good. It's in broad daylight, doesn't have any menace or intensity about it. Why didn't April and Vern let the authorities know about what was going on? April falls and they do a lot of grabbing onto each other and dangling. Then they take out the shredder. The tower falls. They save the day. They save Splinter, and we see the turtle van. Product placement here, there, and everywhere. And that's the end of the movie. Just wanted it out the way. That's the end of the Turtles reboot. As you can probably guess, I was not a fan. There's really not a lot to say about it. The designs are cool. The music is fine. But it's just everything else. Some of the casting, the plot, just I don't really think the script writers and the producers knew entirely what they were going to do. But at the end of the day, at least it wasn't Aliens. And to be honest with you, like I mentioned at the start of the review, I really don't think it's half as bad as what it could have been. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Very rushed review, and I hope to see you again soon.
Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.